The 4th of May 2024 from the kitchen table. Folks, I just want to do one on the subject of religion, the subject of seminaries, to the bishops, and what I have to say to the Archbishop, Catholic Archbishop of Ireland, and of the Church of Ireland, the Presbyterian churches, and the other Christian denominations. I'm not qualified to talk about other religions, I don't know much about them. But there is one thing I do know, and I know it from good information. There are different types of recruit priests or young students for priests in Maynooth and the other colleges. And among them are a number of very serious, sincere, traditional, Catholic, Protestant, Presbyterian, that type of people who are actually take the religion very seriously. There are others maybe who would want to be more go with the flow, be a bit more woke, a bit more accommodating. And indeed we know very well from newspaper reports that a certain number of seminarians in the Catholic churches anyway are gay and are actively gay, and there is that running through the churches. I'm not going there. I'm not going to issue a judgment on any of that. It's not for me to judge. But there is one thing I want to say. I know of instances where priests joined, became seminarians, and were told in their early stages, or as they progressed through their training, or whatever you call that, please don't hold me to account on that, that they weren't suitable. And the reason they weren't suitable is that they were faithful to the Word of God, they were faithful to the Gospels. They believed in the celibacy vow. They didn't believe in any type of abortion, which is their right to do, and they didn't agree to all the cultural Marxism, woke stuff. They were traditional Irish priests and the makings of good priests. And in two cases I know, and I can't name any names, these young priests were brought in before the headman in the college and told you're not suitable. And in some cases long ago, there used to be a mentor. So if you had a young priest, we'll say from, I don't like naming places, we'll say that Castle Bellingham, just because it's not too far away, and it's in Armagh diocese. So usually he'd be a young lad, he's thinking of going for the church. They'd give him a mentor, maybe a priest up the road or in the parish up the road. So he'd kind of you know what I mean, a kind of a minder, that just to refer back to. And that's a good idea. Now, in another case I know of, a way back in the late 80s, a chap joined a seminary and there was unbelievable homosexual activity in it. Unbelievable. And he actually went back and told his mentor, you know what, this is not for me at all. This is all that's going on up there. And the mentor says, he says, leave it with me. The next thing, the mentor got back to him and says, they'll send you to a different department. I don't know, was it in the same seminary or a different one nearby or whatever, but we'll send you to a different one. And when the chap went to the other one, everything was normal. All the young men were proper priests and everything else. There was none of the other stuff at all. And he stayed on and he come close to being ordained, but because of the experience of knowing the other thing existed, he decided, I'm not saying right or wrong, he told his mentor, I'm leaving. And the mentor asked him to give it another go because he didn't want to lose the young chap, but the young chap left the priesthood and went on and lived a civilian life after that, a non-clerical life. I'm only telling you that happened a long time ago. Don't know what proportion of them were at this gay stuff, I don't know, but that happened. Now we go back now to the recent times. In the last 15 years, a small number of priests have been told they're not suitable, and some of them went and left, and they were great loss, and some of them stayed on, and some of them sought advice from their other people and other people within the church and were told, stick it out. And I know of one man who stuck it out, and he's now a curate in a parish over in the west of Ireland, I'll not say where, and he's getting on the best and very well liked and doing a good pastoral role in that area. I know another man who was in a very good town in the eastern part of Ireland, and he was speaking out he spoke about his principles, he spoke what he feels about abortion, he spoke about all those traditional things, and he was shifted out of a good town a bit away to another town, a smaller town, and he's on the go up there, and you can get the webcam of him there. But I won't name the man anyway. But the thing is, he's a genuine Catholic Christian traditional priest, and he come under pressure, and he admitted came under pressure in the seminary too. So what I'm saying, because it's not an area I would profess to be very well up in, no bigger sinner than me, I do serve my fellow man in charitable ways, in different ways, where there's a really toughie needed, maybe, but not so good at all being honest at the masses and that. Throw a few bob all right to the funds and that, but that's it. So but the thing about it is, what I'm saying to the leaders in the Catholic, and I'm sure the other churches, the Church of Ireland and the Presbyterian churches must have a similar thing. I don't know much about them, but what I'm saying about it is, the one I do know as a born Catholic myself, is the bishops should keep their hands, keep away and leave these traditional clerics alone. Let them get on and let them hold their traditional, somewhat Puritan views, and let them out among the people, and they'll be grand. And they want to administer their religion, they want to preach the word of God, and let them at it. It is a terrible thing that somebody wants to be a clergyman, genuinely, real deep down, not for any alternative motive or not for any selfish motive, and that they're told you're not suitable. My advice to young priests in that situation, or other young clergymen, is do not give in. As Trump said, never give up. Do not give in. I knew a young lady student, a great lassie years ago, and she was trying to get a career for herself and cut out a career, and she went to an Irish college, and she was doing computer science, which she didn't follow up afterwards, but she did do it, and it was brutal stuff, and she was taking a leaving. And I told her, she rang me, and I says, don't go until they put you out. Let them put you out. You don't go. Put the bag and baggage at the door. Make them put you physically out. And she says, funny advice. I said, it is the advice. You don't sell yourself short. Anyway, she struggled on, and she passed the exams and got a reasonable pass in it or whatever, and did all right, and went on to something else and became a highly successful person in a big company, highly successful. So you don't give up. You don't know who the person is telling you you're not suitable for. He could be a bit twisted, the priest. He mightn't be. He might just be deluded. The thing about it is, if you're a clergyman and you want to be a clergyman and you're keeping with the book and you're doing it by the book and you're decent and right, don't let them deprive you of a career as a clergyman, whatever it is, a priest or a minister or whatever else. Don't let them deprive you. You keep the straight and narrow, think clearly. And anyone that follows my videos will notice, sorry for raising my voice, folks, will notice I tend to think for myself up and down. I tend to think my own. I imagine myself where I am. And right throughout my whole life, I worked in institutions and things and in companies and for other stuff, including the state, where I was not liked and where people were, oh, he's this and he's that. I never paid any heed. So what I'm saying to you is, I know of 2 priests who stuck to their guns and qualified and are happy administering to their people. I remember years ago being up living in Monaghan Town. I had a job to do there, and there was a small church out in the same parish, and there was a priest there. I don't know if he's still alive, and he had great sermons, and he'd give out stink to us, and tell him you shouldn't be drinking too much and all that. And he had great crowds. People liked him. The next thing, he was shifted away. Why? Because the bishop wasn't getting the same crowd. The bishops said the mass on a Saturday night, and they were all gone out to the other man. So don't let this happen. I have no doubt the whole cultural Marxist, LGBTQ, woke, not green baloney is stuck solidly in every institution in Ireland, and I have no doubt it's in the churches. I just would ignore them, get on with me, what I'm doing, and do what you want to do. And we'll all be the better. I won't have any problem going into a funeral or going into mass or anything else to such a person. They're actually very refreshing to hear. We mightn't always do what they say, we mightn't live up to their ideals, but it's no harm to have a bit of tradition in our religious life in Ireland, in our Christian tradition, and all of that. Folks, I hope I've made my point clear to you. What I'm saying is that I have good evidence that the established churches, more so the Catholics, I have to say, because I wouldn't be too much in touch with the others, but I have good evidence that they do try to force out traditional clerics, traditional good old solid clerics, and good traditional priests, and want them replaced by some kind of a soft hush puppy, maybe LBGPQ and all of this. They want them replaced by this. I haven't come out and condemned, because I remember the words the big man said. He asked a woman taken in adultery, does any of them condemn you? And she says, no. He says, let him who cast the first stone, without sin cast the first stone. And they wouldn't do it. She says, did they condemn you? And she says, no. Well, I won't condemn you either. So I'm not making little of anyone's view. I'm not trying to get into that. I'm just saying, let the traditional man alone, or woman if it's a nun. Let them still keep the traditional faith and the principles that were central in our Christian tradition down through the years. And if any young cleric or anything is under pressure, well, send a note, Val Martin, European Platform Against Wind Farms, Kingscourt, and send your number, and I'll have a chat and let you know what I have discovered about people in high places trying to bully me. They often tried it, but I never enjoyed anything as much as telling them where to get off. Does that make it clear, folks? Give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down. I'm trying to say we're not giving up our Christian tradition without a fight. That was what we were taught. That's what the whole thing is about. You stand up for what is right. Good luck. Thank you very much.